Hello and welcome to the Basketball Addicts podcast. And today we have a good one, like always. And today is a big one. So today we're gonna have a fun podcast. So this is what we're doing for this podcast. We're gonna be talking about rising stars to watch out for next season. So these are guys that were gonna be younger guys that are under the age of 24, so they're growing in the league, they're developing, they have more potential than what they're showing so far, and we really think these guys have star potential. And the only qualifier for this is, anybody that's a superstar or a star is too good for the list. Like Luka Doncic, Trae Young, and John Morant, they're not on the list. But we're going to talk about players. We're going to be listing them off, talk about their potential. It's going to be fun. A lot of these guys are the only good player on their team, and you might be a New York Knicks fan, and you want to hear us talk about how good we think RJ Barrett's going to be next year. Like, this is an example there. So that's what we're basically going to be talking about today, giving some guys some love.
I feel it, man. Some guys definitely do deserve some love, but I feel like it's a lot of love going around the league lately. It's a lot of love. It's a lot of
Yeah.
love going around.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, since actually that was the first player was RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett's 22.
Snuck that
He
in there on
averaged
me.
20 points per game. What?
I just snuck that one in there on me.
I'm sly like that.
I
Yeah.
see. Sneaky, sneaky.
Sneaky. 20 points per game, 33 assists, 5.8 rebounds. He's shooting 34% from the 3-point line, 40% from the field goal percentage. He's such a slow, smooth shot creator. He really is a tough shot maker. I feel like he's learning more in the pick and roll. His efficiency numbers are not good. 40% from the field is not really ideal. But when we're talking about efficiency wise, that's something that's going to come with growth. One thing I would like to see him do better, and I think he did it a little bit last year, is the pick and roll. See, because the reason why he could become a star and really put up some good stats for the Knicks is he's getting to the point in time where he's the most creative, most explosive two guard heading to the future, or guard that they have that can run the pick and roll and operate the pick and roll and grow in the pick and roll. And I feel like higher volume from the pick and roll, him learning how to make better decisions, him playing a little more efficiently, can lead to a guy that can become the star for the New York Knicks in a few years. And definitely going to be excited to see how much he grows into next season as well. I don't ever think he's ever going to be a superstar, but I could see him being a star. So, what do you think about RJ Barrett?
I couldn't agree more. I could see him being a star. I mean, we've seen what kind of caliber of player he would be, based off of his time in Duke with Zion. So we know that he's a two. I just feel that New York is going to be a good launching pad for him, but I don't really see
Mm,
him staying there if he wants to win something because
mm,
they're unable to put things around him to build a contender. Because the last thing, I mean, the first thing that every NBA player, whether you good or bad or indifferent, and everybody wants to win a ring. So I just feel that it's gonna take some time, but he'll get to the point
what?
where he'll leave. I mean, they're paying him really well right now. They think he's the future. I
Hello?
wouldn't. I'm not against that. I'm just a big component for like if you're a good player, you know what I mean, and like especially if you're in a bad organization like the Knicks, badly run organization like the Knicks, then it's like
Mm.
you only have one or two choices. It's either stay and be Melo or you leave and be LeBron. So
Yeah,
other than that,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that he's definitely the kind of player that could end up on a team that has good forwards, a good center, and they need a guard and a young guard that grows with them. I could really see him being a good three on a championship team if he ever wants to leave. A big three, he'll be the third best guy. So yeah, RJ Barrett's solid, man. He's solid.
I give you that.
Anything else you want to say before we kick it to the next guy?
I can't believe New York thought they was getting Zion. That's besides the point. Go ahead.
All right. Well, the next guy is really interesting. I think not a lot of people would have seen him growing this fast. and it's Tyrese Maxey, the guard for the Philadelphia 76ers. He's 21 years old. He averaged
Mm,
17.5 assists per game, 4.3 assists, 42.7% from the 3-point line. I don't know how much that is real equation to how well he shoots threes. It might have been aberration year where he shoots way better than he usually does, but
mm-hmm.
um 48% from the field goal percentage. I mean, this guy is an amazing athlete. His speed and quickness and burst and ability to change speeds are all extremely high level. And basically what I really want to see is we're talking about a guy like Tyrese Maxey, these explosive guards. It's then about, okay, you have the athletic gifts to get to the rim. You have the athletic gifts to tear up a defense. You have the athletic gifts to really expose people. Now the next step is how much skill can you develop to really make checks and balances to what the defense is giving you and really being able to be a more complete player that leads you into becoming a star. And Tyrese Max has got that athletic gifts to get there, in my opinion. So, what are you thinking about Tyrese Maxey as a rising star?
Oh, for sure. He's a big time rising star. He came out of nowhere too. Like I wasn't expecting him to be
Mm-hmm.
this great. And I think that he's
Yeah.
in the perfect situation for him. It's not too many players who are in a good situation, but he is.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now, James Harden is in Philly. This is a great player that you want to get as much knowledge from. Oh, how
Mm-hmm.
can I improve my shooting? How can I draw more fouls? How can I improve my handles? This guy averaged like almost 60 points. I mean, not average 60 points, but we had like multiple 60 point games, 50 point.
Yeah.
This is like the James Harden is a kind of a. I wouldn't say this is. I would say that's a ceiling for Tyrese Maxey. He could possibly go that length because he's coming out strong, and I was just like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
I
his
think I agree. I
scoring
can't couldn't
volume is
exactly. That's another
impressive.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's almost like he's like I said, he's in a good position. He's at a great organization because of who he's surrounded by.
Uh-huh.
James Harden, he
Yeah.
could definitely feed off of that for sure. And we'll see
Embiid.
something else next year. Yeah,
Yeah.
Embiid is more like he actually is a good fit for Embiid as well. But I'm talking more like developing his individual skill. Because James
Mm-hmm.
Harden is an underrated passer. So add some of that
True.
to Tyrese Maxey, and then have him work on his handles and his shooting and things like that. And then we'll probably see a couple 50, 40 point game explosions from Tyrese Maxey. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. I could definitely see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he's a solid guy for this list. All right. We're going to go ahead and kick it to the next guy. The next guy that we think could be a rising star that's under the age of 24 is Scotty Barnes. I mean, this is an easy choice. 21 years old. He won Rookie of the Year, 15 points per game, 3.5 assists, 7.5 rebounds, shot 30% from the 3-point line, 50% from the field goal percentage. And when we're talking about Scotty Barnes, we're talking about a guy with some serious gifts, 6'8", rocked up, world class defender. The guy can be a defensive player of the year level guy. His ability to be a great passer, have great basketball IQ, read the floor, make decisions off of it, push and fast break, post smaller players. He doesn't have a ton of perimeter shot creation in his game, and however much he develops that in his career will determine how great of a player he can be. But somebody I could feel like, even if without extreme skill development, he could be a lot like Scottie Pippen. I feel like that's a very, very good comparison. I mean, the guy is already averaging 50 points per game. He's shooting 50% from the field goal percentage. He has similar athletic gifts and build to Scottie Pippen in similar ways of passing and being a point forward and just being athletic and being a world class defender. So this guy has really high upside. I really believe in Scotty Barnes has real star upside, and you got to watch to see how much he develops next year. I can't wait to see what skill he adds to his game. What do you think about that, Chris? Scotty
Hmm.
Barnes.
That's crazy. Yeah, yeah. I definitely agree. One thing I would say is his mindset is right. Especially when you come into
Mm-hmm.
defending, I can see how you can make the comparison with Scottie Pippen because
Mm.
Scotty, I get
Yeah, it's
it.
funny like that. Yeah, it
Yeah,
really is.
but Yeah, like he's just a world class defender. He has all the
Hmm.
right intangibles to be a great defender. This is what he wants to do.
Yeah.
This is what he prides himself on. Like I believe that he's a defender first and then a scorer second. I think that
Hmm.
what he really wants to do is make his impact defensively, and you can see that especially like during his. I mean, I think his initial conference, he was talking about how like he looked up to Kawhi Leonard and like that like what's Kawhi Leonard's calling card? It's his defense. It's not. I mean, like
Hmm.
yeah, he can score and give you buckets and and be a star player, but really it's his defense. And for to have a young player who already has the mindset that if I defend at a high level, then we can win games. That's big because a lot of players come into the league not defending. They don't play any defense.
Hmm. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, I feel like that's a really good point, Chris. You ready to kick it to the next one?
Yes, sir.
All right, back to back Cleveland Cavaliers here. This is the next guy that we think could be a star. To watch him grow next year. That's a young guy, and his name's Evan Mobley. 21 years old, 15 points per game, 2.5 assists, 8.3 rebounds, 50% from the field goal percentage, 25% from the 3 point line, 2 blocks a game. Ridiculous. Um, we're talking about a great athlete, a guy that has a lot of skill in the post, a guy who flashes skill ball handling and doing some mid range type stuff. He might not be a super duper efficient at those type of things yet, but he's definitely has some things that you can buy into moving forward in the future. And he's a phenomenal world class defender. I mean, this guy is switchable, 7 foot. It's dirty how like switchable and fluid his hips are. It's absolutely insane. And he's a good shot blocker at the rim as well. It's almost like he's 95% of Anthony Davis. That's kind of what
Mm,
Evan Mobley is and his potential is. And this guy is special. So what do you think about Evan Mobley, man?
yeah, yeah, he definitely is special. He's turned. He came in last year and turned our entire organization around. Him and Darius
Hmm.
Garland, and even
Yeah.
that's the reason they decided to push out Colin Sexton because they want to pay their big guys first. Darius Garland and Evan Mobley. So aside from that, um, how do I put this? Yeah. So I can see where you're coming from with the 95% of Anthony Davis because he's averaged 2 blocks a game. He's pretty efficient when it comes to being around the basket. I want to see
Uh-huh.
him develop more of a 3 point shot, be able to stretch the floor a little bit more, even though I'm
Mhm.
okay with him because you already have Jared Allen. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't really have to be too traditional because you have Jared Allen to bang down low,
Mhm.
be that caliber of player, block shots. Not saying that I want you to stop, still play defense at a high level, but maybe just you can stretch the floor a little bit more and really open up the floor. Really open up the floor.
Mhm.
Let Darius Garland have more room to operate and for Jared Allen to be a lob threat. Things like that.
Mhm.
So I completely agree with everything that you said. I'm just saying that I just want to see him develop more of a shot going forward.
Okay. 3 point shot is what you're looking forward to seeing to gauge his development. That's interesting. Okay. I
Yeah, I
feel
would
like
say the
that's
three
a
point
pretty
shot.
good idea. Mhm.
Yeah.
Pick and pop a little bit
Yeah,
from 3 point
because
line.
you already have Jared
Yeah.
Allen, so you don't really need to
Mhm.
be down low. I mean, like
Yeah.
you like if he wants to be like a Giannis kind of player, like Giannis, if you look at his game, like he went from Giannis run jump dunk onto the Kupo to like Giannis with a book full of moves. Like if you want to do that and maybe
Mhm.
just stretch mid range, I'm fine with that, but you don't have to bang down low. We have Jared
Yeah.
Allen for that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. It's an interesting thing, man. It's gonna be really interesting to see how much he grows. You
Yeah,
ready to go to the next guy?
of course.
All right,
Born
the
ready.
next guy that's a rising star, that somebody could be a star one day, and is super young is Darius Garland.
Another
At
cat.
22 years old, 21 points per game, 8.6 assists, 38% from the 3 point line, 46% from the field. I mean, this guy, I have loved this guy for a very long time. Even when we had Colin Sexton and this guy, Darius Garland, I always thought Darius Garland was the better player. And his perimeter shot creation from the 3 point line is so special. He's played such an efficient brand of basketball. He's such a good passer. And I feel like for the Cleveland Cavaliers moving forward, I think he's such a good deep 3 point shooter. I think it's about deepening the range out a little bit more. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like what I would love to see him is he's kind of in that range where it's not quite Steph Curry, Dame range, but it's just like one step, 1 foot, one step in front of it. I just want to take one step back. in training sessions. I feel like that would create a lot of dynamics on the floor that would be really tough. That I feel like he's potential to pull it from back there. He's 22. He's got plenty of time to grow. I feel like that in polishing off the passing. I mean, this guy
Yeah.
has potential to be a 10 assists per game guy and be a legitimately high basketball IQ player. He's kind of like Mark Price a little bit, where it's just efficient basketball, 3-point shooting, can get to the rim. He's kind of like that kind of guy, and I feel like he can grow in multiple different ways. And I'm interested to hear what you think, Chris.
That's an interesting point. You said stretch it back to Dame and Steph range. I can see that.
Yeah.
But what I want to see next year, I think that this guy is pretty much. I mean, not saying that he's done developing, not even saying that at all. I'm saying that he could step
Mm,
forward in like the physical aspects, such as like scoring, passing. You know what I mean?
mm,
Facilitating more. Fine. I want to see him be more of a leader. That's what I'm looking for now because it seems as if now the Cavs know what direction they're heading in.
mm,
They've moved Sexton, so now it's no jumble. Who's the guy now? We know who's the guy. This is
mm-hmm.
your team now. I want you to see more
It's
leadership.
Donovan Mitchell's team.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like, are you gonna like? I don't know. I believe it. That's a good point. No, it's Darius Garland's team.
Why? Wait, what?
It's Darius Garland's team. You want me
How
to tell
so?
you why?
Yeah, yeah. Let's
It's
hear
his
it.
team. Uh, Go to the playoffs and lose will make you a leader.
Are you saying going to the playoffs and losing? Don't. Oh, you're talking about Donovan Mitchell. You had
Yeah.
Rudy Gobert next to him. like, like, how are we supposed to know how good Donovan Mitchell's leadership skills is when he has to deal with a guy that doesn't develop his skill but is criticizing him in the press? Like, I don't know what we're talking about
I know,
here.
I know, but I'm a homegrown fan, right? I've been a Cavs
Mm,
fan since inception, so
yeah.
I'm going with the guy who was drafted to us. I'm gonna say this is his team. I'm not playing politics here.
Mm.
It's his team.
Hey, if
I want to
Donovan
see
Mitchell
him.
can't lead, then yeah, you have a point.
I want to see him. No disrespect to Donovan Mitchell, that was just a joke. Okay,
Mm.
don't want you guys in the comments. Donovan Mitchell was the best player. He's the best player on the Jazz. Oh. I don't want that. That was just a joke. Darius Garland is the leader, is my de facto leader of the Cavs, right? Chris, this is what I want to see him do. I want to see him lead more. I think that
Mm.
it's been cut and dry now since the trading of Colin Sexton. Even though it was to get another player, I believe that it's been cut and dry now that this is his team. This is who they're going forward with. This is who they believe in. That's why they bring Donovan Mitchell in, because they want to make a run toward the championship. They
Mm.
believe that this core group of guys, led by Darius Garland, can do it.
Mm.
So I want to see him be more of a leader.
Yeah, I
You
feel
can
like
be a
that's a
Curry
good
if you
point.
want to. Just be a leader on the floor and just and step away and let Draymond, type leader, but just be a leader. That's what I want to see more of. More leadership.
Darius Garland, the leader of the year. That's what Chris wants to see. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I feel like that's an interesting take. You ready to kick it to the next guy?
of course. Born ready.
All right, next guy up, another guy that can be a star one day, that has a high upside, that you should guys watch to see how they grow next season, is Cade Cunningham. Cade Cunningham's 20 years old, 6'8", 17 points per game, 5 assists, 31% for the 3-point line, 41% for the field goal percentage. When I think about Cade Cunningham, the first thing I think about is high basketball IQ player. He may not have extreme athletic gifts, but he is a great basketball mind. Another thing that Cade's got to work on, and the Pistons got to work on. First things first, Pistons can't be playing around with him at the two sometimes. He needs to be the high volume guard. He needs to be the guy touching the ball all the times when he's on the court. This guy needs to develop, and you develop young guys through reps at the point guard position. He needs point guard development, ball in his hands all the time, develop volume guy development. And
Mm-hmm.
on top of that, in college, he shot 40% from the 3-point line. In the NBA, he shot 31% and shot 41% for the field goal percentage. Those are really terrible shooting splits for him, comparatively speaking to what it was at Oklahoma State. So I feel like his 3-point shot dynamic with his high basketball IQ and length is what made him the number one pick for a lot of people, even though we had him as a number two and had Jalen Green above him. But, those combinations of factors, what we made everybody love him. And he's got to polish up that 3-point shooting because 31%, I mean, that's really bad. That is really, really bad. And a guy that shot 40% from college, I mean, the transition, whatever, I don't know if there's a hitch in his shot or something that was going wrong or he just wasn't in flow or, a multitude of issues, but it's not the same. So I feel like what we're looking for, and I feel like what we should watch out to see is how much does the 3-point shooting develop next year. Cade Cunningham, what do you think, Chris?
Okay, so I like that. I like that. I like that point. So I'm gonna go ahead and agree with you, right? So I will completely agree with the fact that his IQ is there, right? That's no doubt about it. That can
Mm,
improve a little bit. Passing his ability is crazy. His shooting is something I would like to see more of as well. I would like to
mm,
see that take a big improvement. Disregarding numbers, I just feel that this is a 3-point shooting league, and especially if you
mm,
want him to be like the de facto guard, like okay, don't slide him down to 2, keep him at 1. He has to knock down more of his shots and be because he's already facilitating. Like that's neither here nor there. But
yeah,
when the ball is in your hand and the defense breaks down, what can you do with it? That's what
yeah,
the league becomes now since like 10 since it's been a decade since it's been like that now. It's like when the
yeah.
defense break down, what can you do with it? If the defense is
Mm-hmm.
not afraid of you taking a shot, then we can't put you in these type of positions.
True.
So I just want to see more of that. Just see him develop that shot and develop, just being more confident with his shot.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
Yeah.
he can shoot. You know what I mean? You said he was 41% or something like that,
Yeah,
and
it
he's
was
now
40% in
31.
college. It was pretty
40% in
impressive.
college. I think
Yeah.
his confidence is down, or maybe the
Mm.
skill level's too high now. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll find out next year. Hopefully, it was just a first year jitters, first year, fluke type of thing for his career. You never, even though we were like, oh, we like Jalen Gray more than him, blah 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 blah. Yeah, I hope this guy becomes the MVP of the league. I don't wish anything bad on anybody else, just to prove me right in debates. So,
Yeah,
yeah, I hope he figures it out. Yeah. All right, you ready to transition to the next guy?
let's go.
All right,
Let's
the next
go.
guy that's a rising star, somebody to watch out for next year. That's a younger guy under the age of 24. Is Tyrese Halliburton, and I feel like
Mm.
the NBA media and NBA fans are not putting 2+2 together on Tyrese Halliburton. Okay, first things first, 41% for the 3-point line, 17.5 points, 9.6 assists, 4.3 rebounds, 47.3% for the field goal percentage. He's a great perimeter shot creator. But what I feel like the league is not putting 2+2 together on Tyrese Halliburton is I feel like the Indiana Pacers are telling you by trading Malcolm Brogdon and Karis LeVert and having Buddy Hield, Chris Duarte, drafting Benedict Mathurin, you know what position they're not addressing, quote unquote? It's the point guard position. For a while, Tyrese Halliburton was a 2 guard, a combo guard, and when he was in Sacramento, De'Aaron Fox is the guy that's getting the offense ran around him. I feel like the Pacers are telling you through their moves that they're going to give him the keys to the offense next year. They're going to have all this spacing with Miles Turner, with Buddy Hield, with Benedict Mathurin, with Chris Duarte, and he's going to be able to get the keys of the castle and be a volume shooter. I don't know what most improved player odds are looking like right now, but I fully expect him to go from 17 points to 23, 24. I really feel like this is a volume guy, a guy that you guys should watch and grow. I could be wrong about this, but I really feel like and the coach is Rick Carlisle. Rick Carlisle wants to play like, oh my gosh, I have Luka, and we're building around this volume guy, and I have a bunch of shooting and scorers on the wing, and we're just gonna put up points and not play any defense. Like, you know, Tyrese Halliburton and the Pacers might be fun to watch, but they're kind of win like 33, 34 games.
Yeah.
So that's the situation for a guy like this to get a lot of shots, and he just shoots ridiculously well from the 3-point line. And I think they're gonna give him the chance to have that keys to the offense and really get the volume scoring. So Tyrese Halliburton, man, is an under the radar guy to really watch out for most improved player.
Mm-mm. That's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point. Um, so I would agree with that because like in Sacramento, he was he was slowly building up behind De'Aaron Fox, but he was
Mm-hmm.
like he wasn't. You saw like flashes of what he possibly could become. So I
Uh-huh.
think this
Yeah.
was a good move putting him in with Pacers because these are a young team still. They're still pretty young.
Mm-hmm.
Never won anything. Don't have. They can grow together. You can put them together. You can allow some. It's room for error there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not saying in Sacramento there's no room for error because there's a lot of room for error in Sacramento. I mean, they're not one of the best teams in the league. Probably
Mm-hmm.
won't be for a minute,
No.
but there's a lot more room for error with the Pacers,
Yeah.
especially if they, you try it out like, hey, like how about you be our guy for a second, and this offense is yours, and then we'll see what you can do, and then we'll move from there. I mean, like that's the perfect type of you know situation for a guy like this, especially a volume
Mm-hmm.
scorer, because some guy who needs the ball constantly in their hands, who's going to take majority of your shots, who's going to possibly make majority of your shots, and also
Mm-hmm.
just see some facilitation. Because if they put him they give him the keys to offense, you want to see the offense run around him. You want to see you
Mm-hmm.
spread the floor out. You got all these shooters around, so you stretch the floor to like an amazing length right now because everybody can shoot on the floor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I just think it'll be fun to watch next year. I totally agree.
Yeah. The Pacers are going to be that team that either wins by 20 or loses by 30, depending if the threes are hitting.
Yeah, because everybody on that
uh,
floor can shoot a three.
yeah. Yeah, they're just going to play by the 3-point line. They did the same thing last year, too.
Hmm.
Are you ready to go to the next guy?
Yep.
The next guy, man, is another guy that's a rising star that's under the age of 24, and his name's Tyler Hero. I mean, can we get this guy off the bench? 20 points per game, 4 assists, 44% for the field goal percentage, 40% from the 3-point line, 22 years old. Um, we just got to see this guy get more volume. That's what I'm intrigued to see. Is he actually the starting two guard? Do the Miami Heat really know that he should not be? Look, your second best scorer on the team should not be coming off the bench. It's just that simple. Tyler Hero, man, what I want to see him grow and improve is I feel like sometimes he's just got to learn and grow to learn when to take the shots and when not to. I feel like his shot decision, even though his stats aren't that bad, I feel like I see him take a lot of bad shots sometimes. And I just think he should go through some growth with those things. So that's what I'm looking for him to grow into. So what do you think, Chris?
I would say that as well, but one thing I do want to see, because I agree with your point about Tyler Hero. I need a hero.
Yeah.
I think that he's a good player. I think that he takes some good shots, takes some bad shots.
Hmm.
Um, but what I really want to see is not his scoring because I know you can score. I'm not looking for that. I want to see him take just one step in the right direction defensively. That's it. I just want
Yes,
him to
really good
do.
point. Yeah.
I just want him to be Luca for a second. You remember Luca was like, "I don't play defense," and then he started playing defense a little bit. Just do that. Just do that a
James
little bit.
Harden.
James Harden just play just a little bit of defense, just a little bit of
Uh-huh.
defense, and then they'll put you on the floor more because that's why they don't put you on the floor. That's why it's hard for him to start right now, even though he is like the second best scorer on the team. The reason why it's hard
Hmm.
for him to start is because he doesn't play any defense. That you
Hmm.
can't put somebody on the floor that you have to hide because he's a defensive liability. He may be great offensively. He's gonna spark up and torture whole team, but he's gonna get killed on the other end because he can't guard it. He can't guard a fly. It's
Mm.
just take a step forward defensively. I don't want to see, okay, you in a gym shooting, that's fine. We understand working on your game. Work on those defensive slides. Work on increasing your speed and keeping up with the defender. Just keep him in front. Just keep. You don't have to steal the ball. Just keep the defender in front of you.
Hmm.
That's it. Take a step forward like that. That's all I want to see. A step forward defensively.
I feel like that's a good point. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't think about that, but that was definitely a good point.
yeah. He's 6'10", man.
Yeah. All right, the next guy that's under the age of 24 that can be a star, that's a rising star that you guys watch out next year, see how he grows, is a guy who's prime time in Charlotte, North Carolina, LaMelo Ball. I mean, 21 years old,
Mm.
20 points per game, 7.6 assists, 7 rebounds, 42% from the field goal percentage, 38% from the 3-point line, which is phenomenal, especially for a guy, by the way, that shot below 30% in Australia coming into the draft. So it's great to see that development. LaMelo Ball, man, is those 38% from the 3-point line is what I feel like just needs to grow more. Like, there is, when you think about a guy's game, a guy like LaMelo Ball doesn't have any mid-range game. So saying, "Oh yeah, he should become, the next Michael Jordan in the next 3 years with his mid-range skill" is kind of unrealistic for NBA players. But when I saw him coming out of Australia, we see him growing and young. And the thing that really intrigued me the most was, yeah, he's got great basketball IQ, great highlight passes, but it's the deep three-point shooting. That deep 3-point shooting is the keys to unlock his ability to become extremely elite, top 5, top 10 point guards in the game elite. And I feel like shot creation, side steps, step backs, from the volleyball line, just like creative moves from distance, and refining those distance 3-point shots are going to pull the defense out. It's going to make everything easier, and he's really close to getting there. So I feel like that's the obvious choice. I mean, the guy is like really, really close to developing that, polishing that, and then his dynamic will become even stronger. So that's what I'm going with LaMelo Ball. And defensively he could grow too, but he's young, so we'll see what happens. What do you think of Chris?
Yeah, with Lamelo, I think he's exciting. It's really
Mm,
exciting watching him
yes.
play, watching him grow, watching him play alongside that team. They've really got a
Uh
whole new attitude with the drafting of Lamelo Ball. The Charlotte
huh. Uh
Hornets are
huh.
now fun to watch.
Yeah.
But one thing that I would like to see is that I feel that he's that guy, right? I feel like he's superstar level at this point, right?
Uh
I
huh.
think it's without a doubt. I want to see him take that step
Mm-hmm.
and become an all star. I want him to be definitively that guy. I want to see, however that may happen. If it's going into the gym and putting up 300 shots, and so next season you shoot 50%, or if it's improving on your passing skill, improving your ball handling, shooting from longer distance, whatever that. I want to see him take that step. It's almost 3 years. I want to see all star level. I see all star potential. I want to see all star level next year. I want you to definitively be that guy. That's what I want out of the Melo next year.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. He's so special. So much fun to watch. All
Yeah.
right. We're going to go ahead and transition to the next guy. The next guy is these guys went 1 and 3 in that draft class, and the next guy that's a rising star that's young, it's Anthony Edwards, 21 years old, 21 points per game, 3.8 assists, 44% field goal percentage, 35% of the 3-point line. Um, what I feel like Anthony Edwards we should be looking out for his growth next year is consistency. I
Mm.
feel like in the playoffs, we watched him one game. It might have been game one where he drops 28 or 30 or 32, 34. And he
Mm.
kind of drops off and drops 16. Next game, he drops like 25. Next game's like 14. And he'll go from 14 to 35. And that just kind of meets in the middle of 21 points per game. I feel like consistency night in and night out. I feel like those type of things, getting in the gym, polishing off the game, becoming more consistent is what I would like to see. That's what I feel like I would want to see him grow into next year. And Chris, what do you think about Anthony Edwards? What do you think he should grow?
Okay, so the one thing I want to see Anthony Edwards grow at is awareness. I
Uh
think that
huh.
there was a game that they had the potential to win, and he didn't understand what was going on, how he should have handled that situation, and he lost the ball, and then
Hmm.
they lose the game. I feel that his IQ needs to grow. I feel that
Okay.
we see the scoring potential. We see the star potential in him. Fine,
Hmm.
but we need your awareness. We need your IQ to go up a couple points because
Yeah.
those mistakes make you. I mean, those mistakes cause L's in the column in the win loss column.
Mm-hmm.
Those mistakes cause you to lose. We want to see more dubs, more W's, more wins. So you
Mm-hmm.
have to take that experience last year. That's heartbreak. You made it all the way past the play in to get into the first round just to lose in the first round to a team that I believe was the better team, but you had every opportunity to win those games.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just immaturity. Immaturity, awareness, and low IQ. Those are the three things I want to see him work on.
Yeah, I feel like those are all good things. Yeah, I feel like you're right. Yeah, 100%. I'm
Yeah.
with you, Chris.
Yeah, all right.
All right, the next guy we're going to be talking about is another guy that can be a rising star that's really close to being that. And to watch out for next year is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 24 years old, 24.5 points per game, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 45% field goal percentage, 30% from the 3-point line. And I think after you hear me say that, you should probably understand what I think he could do better, and that's shooting threes.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to be more efficient because the reason why is on the Oklahoma City Thunder, he gets the keys to the castle offensively. Okay. Nobody else is, putting up 20 shots. So a guy like this might be a little overinflated on how many points per games he would average on the Clippers or the Lakers or one of those teams.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like this freedom has allowed him to develop his scoring skill, and I feel like the 3-point shooting is going to allow teams when they're taking the Thunder more seriously defensively. And, most people view the Thunder, if you're a winning team, you probably view them as an off night, something we don't really have to try super hard to beat or, we're going to rest against. But, this is a guy that just, I think the 3-point shooting has to develop. So what do you think about Shea?
I'd give you that. That's a good point. I think that the 3-point shooting definitely needs to develop. I
Mm-hmm.
feel that they have a good tandem there with Josh Giddey and Shea Gilgis. Believe it or not, I believe that
Mm-hmm.
that's a good backcourt they can have
Yeah.
moving forward. But I think that just to take that step shooting wise, because he's like you said, like he has the keys to the offense. He's going to take majority of the shots, so it's a little bit conflated. You know what I mean? Not
Mm.
conflated. It's a little bit inflated because of the team that he's on and the position
Yeah.
he's in. So we need to take advantage of that. You get the ball, you touch the ball 100 times, you need to make majority of those shots. So
Mm.
I would say the 3-point shot needs to increase.
Mm. I agree with you, Chris. You ready to talk about the next guy?
Yes, sir.
Next man up is somebody that a lot of mainstream NBA fans don't understand his upside. And
Hmm.
his name is Anfernee Simmons. He's a rising star that can be a star one day. 23 years
Yeah.
old for the Portland Trailblazers, 17 points per game, 4 assists, 2.5 rebounds, 40% from the 3-point line, 44% from the field goal percentage. I mean, this guy is got a lot of gifts. He is a point guard slash two guard, a combo guard, whatever you want to call him, that shoots extremely well from the 3-point line and also has a ridiculous amount of athletic gifts. He was in the slam
Mm-hmm.
dunk contest pretty young. And I feel like the thing that I immediately, when you think about him and when I watch about him, is I think he needs to play with more force around the rim. Press
Mm.
the issue a little more because he's got so many athletic gifts that he can dunk on people. He can finish around the rim. He can draw more fouls and get this points per game up average pretty easy just going to the free throw line a little bit more, putting these centers in tougher positions. I feel like he's really mastered how to play off ball shooting, how to create off his shot. I don't think that's going to develop any much more, but I feel like the ability to draw fouls at the rim and take advantage of his athletic gifts a little bit more could really make him a guy that could become a star. So that's what I think about Anfernee Simmons. What do you think, Chris?
I can see that. I can definitely see him pushing the issue. He needs to. He has too many
Mm-hmm.
athletic gifts to not be, making it harder. Being a giant slayer.
Uh huh.
You're
Yeah.
in the good position right now because you have Dame Lillard and he's not as tall. You know what I mean? He's used to
Mm.
going right at the big, drawing the big out, putting them on an island, and
Yep.
cooking them. This is what you should be trying to be doing. This is the lessons you should be trying to be taught right now from Dame. Dame's a
Hmm.
good example of that. You don't have to string your range out. Just be more aggressive, attack more. Because
Yeah.
when you attack and you're a fearsome attacker,
Yeah.
like then you open the floor up for everybody else.
Yeah.
Now they're more afraid of you going downhill on them. Now you shots are opening up around the court.
Yep.
Now the team
Hmm.
can get involved.
Yeah. I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
All right, we only got a few more guys left on the list, down to 5, and the next man up is somebody I loved coming out of the draft, and he's a rising star, really young, that can become a star one day. And the next one up is Jonathan Kuminga, 19 years
Mm.
old, 9.3 points per game, 3.3 rebounds, 1 assist, 51% from the field goal percentage, 33% from the 3-point line, all off of 17 minutes a game. Dear goodness. Um,
Okay.
oh my gosh, Jason, you have a guy in here that averages less than 10 points a game. Well, he just played for the NBA championship team as a rookie. He didn't
Yeah.
get a lot of minutes. When I think about this guy, the person I compared him to coming out of the draft was Kawhi Leonard. And he still reminds me of Kawhi Leonard because he's 6'8", great wingspan, can defend extremely well. He's in a situation like Kawhi where he's learning how to win, he's learning how to develop, he's learning how to play or progress and grow into his own game. But what people don't know is because he doesn't fit in the Warriors offense, and it doesn't get utilized because he's not that great at it yet, because they have Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Andrew Wiggins and those guys to run the offense around. Is he's got great mid-range footwork and skill. He's got fadeaways, mid-range, good footwork, good ability to read feet, good ability to jab step. Like, he's very schooled. If you watch him in the G League, that's why I loved him so much. And compared to Kawhi, the great mid-range footwork, great body, great ability to finish around the rim. And I feel like next year, I feel like he's going to get more minutes because they do have an open spot of they need a guy off the bench that's an athletic wing that can guard and switch and rotate. So I feel like he's going to get more minutes next year because Andre Iguodala is getting to the point in time where he's really aging out of the league pretty soon, even though he's still on the roster, I think. So I feel like what I want to see him grow into next year is, get up some mid range shots that we saw in the G League that I saw when I was scouting him. I feel like those are the type of things I'd like to see, but I don't expect to see it all the time because, again, there are restrictions on his game because they're trying to win a ring. So, what do you think, Chris?
I can agree with that. I can see that Andre Iguodala is going to age out of the league, and then eventually Jonathan Kuminga will be the next guy up because the Warriors are really deep.
Mm-hmm.
But what I would say is that on a team like the Warriors, where they just won an NBA championship, roles are pretty much defined. So when you are drafted to a team like that, the thing that you need to do first is define your role. And that's what I want to see him do. I want to see him figure out how he fits and how he can help this team win, how he fits into the team. I want him to define his role as a role player. If he's going to be on that type of team, I mean, he's not. It's years down the line, possibly because they have a lot of young guys who are coming up before him, like Jordan Poole and Toscano Anderson. Well, I don't think Toscano Anderson is on anymore, but Jordan Poole at least, who's going to be in front of this guy. Andrew Wiggins is going to be in front of him. So it's going to be times where he's not going to. It's going to be a while before he gets a chance to really start, and we really get to see something. So define your role on how you're going to impact the offense and the defense of this team. That's what I want to see happen. I want to see him define his role next year because we only played 17 minutes. So I'm assuming that the time will go up. I feel like he'll have more minutes next year. So I just want to see him define his role on that team.
All right, man. Yeah, Jonathan Kuminga is really special. The next guy we're going to talk about here is another Golden State Warrior, a guy that's got better stats. Is still another guy that we think could be a star in the future. The guys we want to watch next year. His name is Jordan Poole, 23 years old, 18.5 points per game, 4 assists, 3.5 rebounds, 36% from the 3-point line, 44% field goal percentage. I feel like what Jordan Poole we should watch to see him grow into next year is two parts to me. One part for me is he takes amazingly tough shots, but sometimes he can be really off. And I feel like those tough shots can be what makes him a star in the future. I just feel like he's got to become more consistent with them, keep on working the same shots, keep on polishing them off until, they're perfected. And then I feel like the next thing is the IQ and the passing. I feel like there is a lot of room for growth in that area. The Golden State offense makes things very easy for a guy like this who's not extremely developed passing wise. And so I feel like basketball IQ, passing is things that he could really grow in. And that's what I see for and what I want to see him grow in. So what do you think about Jordan Poole, Chris?
I would say consistency. That's a big thing. And I can definitely
Yeah.
agree with your other 2 points as well. But consistency for me is because like it's
Hmm.
like he has moments, right, where he'll just explode and you'll be like, dag, like,
Hmm.
oh god, he's great. But then like you have other moments where it's just like he's okay. But I just wanted to see more consistency of that. Oh my god, it's great. Like how he
Yeah.
was in like the finals, and he was like knocking down shots and stuff like that, shooting from long range and walking off the court. More
Hmm.
of that consistently. I want to see
Hmm.
more consistency when it comes to that moment. I want to see more awe factor and not
Yeah.
awe factor. If you get what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Yeah. I can understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. All right. Well, the next man up is another guy that can be a rising star that has star potential is De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox is 23 points, 23 years old, 23 points per game, 5.6 assists, 3 rebounds, 29% of the 3 point line, 47% field goal percentage. And the thing that I feel like De'Aaron Fox is just feel like he's hit a wall for the past 2 years, where he just
Mhm.
hasn't really grown much, changed his game up much. And that 3 point shots got to at least be able to hit when it's open. He's got to at least be able to hit it when, oh my gosh, this guy's dropping off of me into an extreme extent where this shot would be extremely easy if I could take it because they have to respect my drive game and my speed and athletic gifts. I feel like those are the ways that he needs to improve. So that's what I'm looking forward to see him, and that's what I think could make him a more complete player. So what do you think about De'Aaron Fox, Chris?
Mhm. I would definitely want to see more shooting. I feel like you have the speed. You know what I mean. You're still young, so handling, driving to the basket, just be able to knock down those open shots.
Mm-hmm.
When you're open, be able to knock them down, and then be able to create for yourself and others. Just kind of
Mm-hmm.
just work on that. Work on
Yeah.
increasing your 3 point percentage for me.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I really
Yeah,
do agree. Yeah. You ready to kick it to the next guy?
let's get it.
Down to the final two, and the second one is another guy that's a rising star. Was our number one rated prospect the year he came out of the draft class, and that's Jalen Green.
Ooh.
20 years old, 17 points per game, 2.6 assists, 3 rebounds, 42% field goal percentage, 34% 3 point percentage. Um, I feel like the thing that I think he needs to improve on, and the thing I want to see him grow into next year is, yeah, I wish he could become a better defender. Yeah, he could become, even better at 3 point shooting. Not saying it's bad. Yeah, he can become more dominant around the rim. Sure, all those type of things. I feel like the biggest thing that I want to see for him that I feel like he needs to grow in and that I really hope he does is mentality.
Mm.
I feel like he's got to be like, you know what? I am locking myself in mentally where anybody says something on the internet, don't care. Where it's just about I'm going to grow and I'm going to put my imprint on this league and you guys are going to know who I am.
Mm.
He has to have that mentality and the swag of like I'm dominant and I'm going to show you every night cuz that's his potential. And I feel like for the Houston Rockets later in the season, he was starting to click with that, where it was like 30-point game, 30-point
Mm-hmm.
game. Like he was really putting up buckets. The beginning of the year, he looked like he was just playing within the offense, going with the flow, just, being a good player or the team, just being a, team player. Like, no, he needs to be like, this is my team, right? and I'm taking this, and every time you play the Houston Rockets, yeah, you might think that you're going to get this win, but you're going to have to stop me, right? I'm going to try to drop 30 on your head. I may not be able to. He might drop 25, but this is just the mentality. He needs to have the Kobe mentality, the Michael mentality, a guy like Dominique Wilkins or George Gervin, a mentality of like, I am stepping into my game and dominance, because he just has so many gifts. All he's got to do now is get the mentality side of it and really just squeeze everybody else by the neck and just say, this is me now, and you have there's nothing you can do about it. And I feel like that's the next step I want to see for Jalen Green.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. That's a good point. Mentality. That's gonna be a good thing because we saw a little bit of that toward the end, like you mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
toward the end of last season. So we want to see more of that. I want to see him take that step and
Mm-hmm.
really unleash the killer within. Because you're right,
Yes.
he has so many gifts, so many athletic gifts. Like
Mm-hmm.
you just have to just take it over, say this is my team. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I have all the gifts. You know what I mean? And you may win, but
Yeah.
you cannot stop what I'm about to do to you.
Mm-hmm.
Make it like that, like the Houston Rockets have Jalen Green over there. Like who wants to guard him tonight? Kind of
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Yeah.
Just where it's like you're gonna have a long night. You may win by 30, but you got a long night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I completely agree with you, Chris. That's what I think he needs to do, and I feel like he
hmm
has the ability to do it, and I'm excited to see what he grows into next year, man. He was my number one guy. I was big on him. I
Yeah,
thought he was better coming out of the Cade Cunningham, and I thought he was better than Anthony Edwards, and I hope he, shows what seeing from him next year, and I just mentally needs to get with it.
yeah.
All
I agree
right,
with that.
yeah. All right, we're going to go ahead and transition to the last guy of this podcast before we call it a day. And this last guy is 22 years old. It'd be hilarious if I said, okay, guess a 22-year-old player that the last time he played in a season with his most recent stats was 27 points per game, 3.7 assists, 7.2 rebounds, 61% field goal percentage, and 29% for the three-point line. Chris,
He's
what player would you guess that is?
Zion, right?
Yes. Yeah, you're a basketball addict though. Most people be like, Luca?
Yeah,
No, Luca? Yes, Luca. Right? Like this guy is ridiculous, and I hello, it's very obvious. It's
yeah,
health. Look, the guy has some Instagram photos on the summer. I don't know how edited they are, but he looks like the Hulk. Okay, he looks trim, bulky, in shape. Like, dear goodness, if he could be healthy, that's all it is. He's got so many gifts. I don't care about anything else other than health and taking care of his body. I want to see this guy playing games. The Pelicans will be really good next year if he's healthy. And yeah, Zion Williamson, man, what do you think about Zion?
you hit. That's the main the main concern for Zion Williamson is health. That's what
Mm-hmm.
everybody wants. Everybody, we know what you're capable of. We've seen it. We've seen
Yeah,
you. We've seen you be a man amongst boys. We've seen you dominate a
yeah,
league full of men. It's
yeah.
fine. We get it. We understand. Stay on the
Mm-hmm.
court because you can't play a game if you're not on the court. If you're
Mm-hmm.
not healthy, you can't show your skills. You can't show your
Mm-hmm.
talents. You can't show what you're capable of
Yeah.
because you can't play the game that you love. So stay on the court, stay healthy, eat better, become vegan if you have to. I don't care. Stay on the
Mm-hmm.
court.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, this is going to be the end of this episode. Next Sunday, we're basically going to be talking about every team in the NBA. We're not going to talk about the regular season predictions and like what their standings are going to be. We're going to talk about every team and, give you a feel for what to see and watch for their growth and see what differences they're going to have from this year, upcoming season, and the previous season. So that's what we're going to look forward to for next week's episode. Really appreciate anybody that's hitting the download button or reviewing our podcast or doing any of those type of things. It really helps our podcast go. So we appreciate it. And yeah, do you have anything else you want to say, Chris?
Keep downloading, keep liking, keep commenting, keep sharing, share, keep sharing. All that good stuff.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, well, I'm Jason Collins.